The story begins at the consulate in France. The heroine, Sarah, came here with her son, John, and planned to apply for a work visa to the United States. After the staff registered Sarah's information, they gave her a number and asked her to go to the lounge to wait for the call. But after waiting for 3 hours, she still didn't get a call from her son. John couldn't sit still and started to make trouble in the lounge. In order to prevent her son from disturbing others, Sarah took him to the amusement park next door. She was worried that she would miss the call, so she let her son play here and wait for her son to line up. Seeing that the latest call was still far away from her, Sarah decided to accompany her son for a while, but accidentally met 2 staff members exchanging handbags at the door. The other party's eyes flashed and made Sarah notice a little, but she didn't care and continued to come to the amusement park, but found her son missing. At first, Sarah thought her son was playing a prank on her. He must be hiding in some corner. But when she searched the entire space around the amusement park, she still didn't find any trace of John. She was finally panicked and immediately called the staff to react to the situation and pointed to the entrance next door. She hoped the other party would open it and let her check it out. But the other party refused. Sarah had no choice but to call her leader. Soon, the security manager of the embassy arrived at the scene, including her deputy Donovan. After hearing the specific information about John from Sarah's mouth, Sarah promised to help her find her son, because she also has a daughter. She knew how anxious her son would be to lose his parents, so she ordered all his men to search for John in the entire embassy area. She also asked the broadcaster to inform everyone that her son was missing and asked everyone to keep an eye on him. But even so, they still couldn't find John. Sarah thought that John might have run away. She again suggested to open the door and look for him, because she just found out that 2 staff members handed over the handbag. One of them left from here. At this time, Donovan, who went to check the surveillance camera, came back. He whispered a few words in the ear of the general manager. After the general manager heard it, he took Sarah to a conference room and studied her resume and information carefully. He found that Sarah had retired from a special force in Germany and had performed missions in Afghanistan. He was very grateful for her sacrifice for the country, but Sarah didn't care. At this moment, she just wanted to know where her son was. At this time, Donovan came to her and told her that the system did have a record of you applying for a visa for yourself and John, but there was only your signature on the signature form. Sarah thought it must be a mistake, because she clearly remembered that her son also signed it, and Donovan was in charge of security. He should have seen John, but Donovan said he didn't see the child. Sarah was finally angry. She thought there were surveillance cameras everywhere, and they should be able to prove everything. But Donovan said he had checked the surveillance cameras, and there was only her in them. Sarah knew she couldn't stay here any longer. She needed to talk to the German police, so she kindly helped her make a phone call. Sarah told him everything she had experienced today, hoping that the police would come to help her. But because the American consulate has diplomatic immunity in Germany, which is equivalent to the legal territory of the Americans in Germany, the German police had no right to enter. To get their help, Sarah had to leave the American consulate first. But Sarah knew it would be easy to leave, but it would be difficult to come back. Sarah lost hope and hung up the phone. To prevent her from overreacting, she asked Donovan to keep an eye on Sarah before leaving. But soon after, Donovan received a message, then turned around and walked out and locked the door. Sarah took the opportunity to make a phone call. This call was for her mother. After explaining the current situation, Sarah asked her mother to help contact the government and the media. She thought it was the people here who kidnapped John. What were they hiding? Sarah, you're taking your pills, aren't you? Mom, what does this have to do with it? You know I'm fine. What is this? The reason why her mother reacted this way was because after Sarah retired, she was diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder. At the same time, she also has delusional disorder and psychological trauma. She thought Sarah might be sick, but Sarah knew that she was extremely sober now, but she couldn't make an effective countermeasure. She adjusted her mood and got up quickly. She found a needle in the file cabinet next to her. With the skills she learned in the Special Forces, she easily opened the lock and took off the coat that affected her performance and tied her hair. She took out a file on the shelf next to her and pretended to be a staff member and walked from the surveillance camera. When she passed by the amusement park, she noticed a toy. Sarah immediately recognized that it was her son's, because she clearly remembered that she put this toy in her son's hand. But she didn't hesitate too much and went back to the passageway. Since the security guard didn't let her open the door and go out to look for it, it was not impossible for her to get out through the window. Sarah clung to the glass wall and stepped on the outside of the star system. She took a look at the stairs not far away and jumped out of the building. Fortunately, the height was not too high. Sarah just had a slight pain in her right arm and shoulder. She was fine in other places. When she turned around, she noticed the lighting around her and guessed that there should be a separate space below to see. So she picked up the brick and smashed it. Then she came in through the hole. The pain on her shoulder made her shiver and called out her son's name while exercising. She opened the emergency door and saw the surveillance system on the top of her head. She picked up the fire extinguisher next to her and smashed it. This floor is the visitor's apartment and the door is almost locked. Only a pair of shoes are placed at the door. Sarah tried to open the door and walked in carefully. But suddenly, a girl appeared. The girl's fighting power was average and she was easily subdued by Sarah. Seeing the girl no longer struggling, Sarah also let go of the hand that covered her mouth. Then she told the girl that her son was lost and asked her if she had seen him. The girl said that this kind of thing should be secured. But Sarah thought that her son's disappearance might have something to do with these security guards. When the girl denied the answer, Sarah was ready to leave, but she was stopped by the girl. The girl said that she could help Sarah find her son, but the condition was that Sarah had to take herself away from here. At this time, Jin Chi and the person in charge of the embassy met and reviewed Sarah's resume to the other party. The information shows that the reconnaissance troops were attacked in Afghanistan. Sarah is the only survivor, but she was seriously injured and eventually withdrew from the current army. I think he's harmless. Delusional perhaps, but harmless. Heiji did not make it difficult for Sarah's plan. He told Jin Chi not to make a fuss and secretly found Sarah and sent her out of the embassy. But he didn't know that Sarah already had her own plan at this time. The girl's name is Elena, a political prisoner forced by the US government and a computer expert. The two of them plan to sneak into the warehouse. There are a lot of goods there every day. If they want to take Xiaoxi away, they have to go through the warehouse. But in the process of communication, the girl hid something in her waist. Did you kill him? Come on, help me. The two of them hid the fainted security guard in a remote corner. Before leaving, Sarah took his door card and locked his hands with handcuffs. Then the two of them continued to head for the destination. Without any obstacles, the two of them arrived at the warehouse in the logistics office. Sarah noticed that one of the cars had left before Xiaoxi went missing. That means Xiaoxi should still be in the embassy. The next shift is an hour later. While the two of them were planning their next move, Sarah saw a familiar sign. It reminded her of when she first came. It was the sign on the girl's body. Knowing that there was maybe a connection between them, Sarah forced the cabinet to open. She found the handbag they were handing over. It was filled with drugs. Sarah realized that something was wrong. They may have fallen into another whirlpool. So she took Elena back to the apartment. Since the diplomatic luggage did not need to be checked by customs, this made it easier for the security guards to trade drugs. Sarah guessed that Xiaoxi's disappearance might be because she saw something. She thought she should find a surprise to chat. But at this time, Elena just wanted to leave. The two of them had a big fight. Sarah put her on the wall and touched the USB flash drive she was hiding from her waist. Sarah knew that Elena was not a simple political criminal. She lied to herself. However, when Elena was about to tell everything, the door was suddenly knocked, so Elena was going to open the door. Suddenly, a doorbell rang, and two strong men rushed in. Sarah rushed up and fought with them. From the looks of it, they were obviously trained, but they were not staff at the embassy. How did they get in? Sarah was a little confused. These people tried to sneak into the embassy to catch Elena. It means that Elena is very valuable to them. But it's useless to think so much now. We must stabilize the situation first. So Sarah's action was more decisive. It took a lot of effort. In the end, they managed to settle it. For 2 years. This place can't stay here for long. However, when Sarah went out with her, she encountered Donovan. The other party had a weapon, and Sarah could only surrender.